Hi, my name is Annika, and I'm going to talk to you about autism and dating. So, dating is seeing someone with the purpose of being romantically involved with them. So, there's a lot of benefits to dating, social and emotional support, companionship, and a sense of belonging, especially for those who are diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. People with autism face some unique challenges in the dating world. Um, a couple of those aspects are that self-awareness, so learning how to meet your needs in a relationship and meet your partner's needs in a relationship. And then studies have shown that people with autism spectrum disorder have a delayed social and emotional maturity. So that can lead to their parents avoiding talking to them about relationships and sex and everything along with that. So, people with ASD may lack those appropriate skills, education, and knowledge to initiate relationships. Compared to their neurotypical peers, individuals with autism have less sexual knowledge and education, both from their social sources, such as their peers and their parents, and then non social sources, such as the TV and the internet. There's a higher percentage of those identifying as lesbian, gay, bisexual, asexual, or unknown sexual orientations, and this can hinder relationship opportunities. And studies have also shown that there are some gender differences between male and females who are diagnosed with autism. So, studies have shown that females usually have more experience within relationships, but males have more experience with the sexual side of things. So, I thought that was interesting. So, love fixations, I think this is an important topic to touch on. So, that's developing a strong interest in particular topics or people. And this isn't harmful when there's a love fixation on, say, license plates or trains, or maybe your favorite singer. But there can be some issues when that love fixation is on a particular person that you want to pursue to have a relationship with. So there's some impairments with social interaction and verbal, non-verbal communication that can result in inappropriate behavior. It can be harder for people with the autism spectrum disorder to pick up on those non-verbal and verbal cues. And this can lead to some stalking and harassment. And Stokes et al. Has revealed that individuals with autism were likely to keep pursuing those individuals of interest even after that person had stopped responding or provided a negative response. So they kept calling and kept texting them even after that person stopped responding or maybe said, "Stop contacting me." And that can be problematic for the above reasons. And then there can be some difficulties when one person is unable to understand the thoughts and feelings of others, such as not being able to pick up on those cues. So I wanted to touch on this subject because online dating has become really big within the past couple of years. So 15% of neurotypical people report using online dating, and that number is almost tripled for people who are on the autism spectrum. So there can be some additional challenges to online dating, and one of those could be understanding the unwritten social norms. So, for example, writing on an online profile, how honest do you want to be? What's the best way to express my personality? What kind of wording do I use? People who aren't on the spectrum might know that you don't use super formal writing like a narrative paper. You would use something more casual, but that might be something that's a little more difficult for someone who is diagnosed with autism to understand. And then, do I include my diagnosis on my profile? Studies have shown mixed thoughts on this. So I've read one study that said that neurotypical people have more empathy for others once they find out their diagnosis of autism spectrum disorder. But then I also read another study that shows that there is some stigma related to that autism diagnosis. So, which way do you go? So, what can parents and speech language pathologists, what can they do to help this process? I mean, dating is tricky for anyone, but especially those who are diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. So, parents, what can you do? Provide information about initiating and maintaining relationships. Talk to your child about sex, talk to them about dating, and lay that stuff out for them and allow them to ask you questions because you're a safe person. And um, it's just easier. You want to have that open communication with your child. Talk about the safety of dating, especially related to online dating. You want to make sure to explain that when you haven't met someone before in real life, that you don't want them to come to your house. You want to meet in a public area. And then talk about those unwritten rules of dating. The speech language pathologist, what they can do is they can do some social skills training and talk about what's appropriate and inappropriate to say in on a date or in a relationship. Some sexual education training, talking about consent, that would be very important. And then provide opportunities to practice in non-formal situations. You can practice in the therapy room, but you really want to initiate that carryover and generalization by practicing at a coffee shop or at a restaurant or real life places that these people might go on dates, you know? So here are some resources for teens and adults who are looking into the dating scene. So these first couple links are dating tips and frequently asked questions, and it really just lays it all out there, all the information. It's very informative. And then I also added the link at the bottom, or it's information that you can share with partners. And this is individualistic. So you want to make sure that it fits you and your preferences, but it talks a little bit about how your touch needs might be different because you might get overstimulated more or different things like that. And then I also had I found this website that creates comics about autism spectrum by people who are diagnosed, and it just helps explain the spectrum and different aspects in the form of comics. So I thought this would be a good icebreaker for people who might be looking to initiate conversations or explain their diagnosis to people who don't have autism. And here are my sources. Thank you.